Okay, what's going on, my fellow zombies who are still alive and still emotionally screwed up out there, like the rest of us? It's 1:21 West Coast time. It's still the 21st of October 2023. Yeah, I'm without my glasses. It's over here for right now. Weaver, John C. of Rosamond, California. You're zombie out here. Or, if you are into the grieving, miserable, and depressed state, I would say that this channel would be the diary of the griever named John Weaver, which is me. Okay, enough of that intro. Oh, yeah. So, if I'm going to send this one over to the damage report guys, I think I will. As soon as I find out where the hell they're located on email, I'll send an email of this video link with these guys. And also one to Jesse Dollarmore. Sometimes the progressives are entertaining the best. Apparently, Jesse has this thing with the Right Wing Watch. And they pull up all these nut jobs out there who are spouting it off left and right, what they think and what it should be, and predictions left and right. In fact, Jesse's last video was doing something about these two nut jobs predicting that there's going to be bad times arising. Well, the problem is there's always bad times arising, so at least that portion got right. But for anything else that we have to be prepared for, beats the hell out of us. And when he starts showing this one guy, I think his name is Shane something, going, I told you so. I'm like, oh, great. I think Jesse's lost his mind again. Yes, he's focusing more on this to get the laugh factor out of it. And to show how ridiculous some of these people are, because they actually do have video. They have followers on YouTube regarding this. And my problem is I'm going to have more issues with the algorithms of YouTube and also on Facebook than anything else, because if I happen to lock on anything of shopping or of a search of something, the algorithms lock in and say, "Ooh, he likes this. Let's give more of the stuff Mikey likes." So yeah, shout out to the damage report on that one. That Mikey likes. Well, this Mikey don't like. I've always had problems with it. I've always talked about it. A lot of my own videos on my own channel, one way or another. They're probably either labeled or they're not labeled, probably buried under the WIN files. Case in point, they were talking about all Alex Jones and his mental capacity again. Him having issues. What else is new? And they were having a gay old time with the damn thing. Laughing it up. White supremacist out in Ontario murders 6 people, I guess. I guess Ontario, Canada. Runs him over because he's got something going on in his head. Just follow the itch, and the itch murdered. And now he's blaming, and he's falling back. And I didn't know any better. Well, criminy, you go on YouTube these days, you got more of that crap going on. Or even Facebook videos show that crap all the damn time, just listed under Karens, and you see these damn rats out there. Oh, yeah. Sometimes the algorithms will flag me the question, do I want to see more of this stuff on Facebook? My question is, do I really need to see this damn shit on Facebook? If I want entertainment, I'll watch these people go after each other and then fast forward like crazy. And then you got the cops being interrogated by people with cameras. We want to know. We want to know. We need audit. We need to do an audit. Ah! I'm just calm here. I just want to get this thing on with. I'm doing my First Amendment rights. I gave me my First Amendment rights. And I'm watching this stuff. I'm like, is this stuff actually real? It looks like it's actually real. It's like watching Cops. Except when I was watching the show Cops back in the, what was it, 80s and 90s and almost 2000s. They had them on KTTV and Fox 11, same station, out here in Los Angeles. During that time, we had guys going all over the country in different cities to show how cops were. And the people ate it up because they wanted to see entertainment. Oh, yeah, let's show a live entertainment of this guy going to get shit kicked out of him left and right. I swear, some of these guys in progressive media are too damn young to remember other things because when they start spouting it off, I'm like, please, I've seen this before, you dummies. Back in the 60s, they had tapes of this stuff. And they would show it to the news. The news would show it. The Watts riots back in the 1960s in Los Angeles. I don't know about any other cities. I'm ignorant on that one. I'll admit to that. But Los Angeles, a few years before my time, I'm seeing a white motorcycle helmet on officers with batons and beating the crap out of people left and right. And people showing blood all over the damn place. People got fed up what the hell happened. Something initiated and all hell broke loose. And then what the hell you see about 30 years later, and I saw this one in my own lifetime. And people keep forgetting this one. But you lived in Los Angeles long enough, you didn't forget about it unless you moved out here and then try to put it out of your damn mind. But I didn't. I didn't. We had gang fights, cops going after them. You had a police chief, Daryl Gates, clashing with the mayor all the time about violent and brutal police tactics. Uh, Happened when you get one guy who's drunk and stupid, already had a record already racing around San Fernando Valley, especially in the northern territories, and he's got LAPD on his ass, pulled his ass over. And this one guy who pulls out his video camera, decides to take a test of it. He hears the commotion outside of his apartment window. He became instant famous. Because as soon as he hit the on button and he started clicking the trigger on it, he was taping history. And he was showing several cops. 4 were beating the crap out of Rodney King on a boulevard late at night up in the hills of Sun Valley. And this tape was sent over to the news stations, and they showed it, and they aired it. And then the mayor probably pulled Gates' ass trying to figure out what the hell happened. Well, I could say the other word, but I'm not about to. So naturally, the reporters, when they got wind of this damn thing, blood and water. Here comes the sharks. King's in the hospital trying to recover at this point. Long time recovery for this dude. Brain damage, but body broken up. He had to have months of recovery and therapy on this guy just to barely get along and barely getting around. Guy's already had a criminal history. You'd think you'd feel nothing for this guy, but seeing a guy being beaten up by 4 cops back in the 90s, back in the early 90s. You see how brutalistic some people can be. I mean, we bitch about it these days because we got our cameras of today's technology, and we're shoving this damn thing in everyone else's face. And I remember seeing this damn thing on the news. We didn't have the Facebook. We had the media. We had the radio. We had print, which show you the pictures. We had the magazines to do a dossier on the damn thing. listen to the accounts and watch the accounts going on. And then trying to see if these cops are going to get investigated or not. And surely enough, the LA County did. Actually, the city attorney did. And they were trying to decide whether or not they're going to keep the damn venue out here or not. The cops are charged. The cops are berated and taken off the force. So much for retirement. One sergeant and other lower ends. Racial tension was getting a little high, even worse during those days. Because now people are screaming and yelling, what's going to happen to Rodney King? What are you going to do to them cops? At first, they wanted to lynch these guys. That was the attitude during those days. I was 20 something, mid. I'd already seen a fair share of some shit happening in life, and now I got to see this crap going on. Bad enough we actually had gotten through a Gulf War, Saddam versus Kuwait, and then the Gulf nations and a few others jumped on his ass. I had friends and family go over. They came back. All of them carried the scars of the war. One of which was my brother. It wasn't easy dealing with those days, I'll tell you. Moving from one neighborhood to another neighborhood. My brother, well, let's see, it was time, months, almost a year afterwards. He's working at a oil refinery out in South Central or southern part of Los Angeles, I guess, somewhere in there. Inexperienced about stuff. I mean, he could do security, no problem. But the stuff that they were asking for him to do, this job was a favor, but more like humiliation. Dave couldn't drive a stick. They wanted him to use a forklift. He couldn't use a forklift. He didn't know how to drive a stick. No one would teach him. It was humiliation. But on this particular night, that's when they were having the. Let's back up on that one. Let's back up several months when they actually started doing the announcements on the television and in the news and radio. And then the months of looking for a venue because every place they wanted to go was hot as hell. In Los Angeles County, City of Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles, Orange County wouldn't touch them, San Bernardino wouldn't touch them, San Diego said, screw you. Tried to do the Northern Territory. We couldn't do the Northern Territory. Finally, Simi Valley said, okay, we'll take them. Problem is, in Simi Valley, during those days, it was mostly law enforcement. Where else are they going to live? In the territories that they actually patrol in? You kidding me? God forbid on that one. And these were the stories that you heard. Directly and indirectly. And then they get to have the trial. They get the jury. Tainted, but they got the jury. And they had the trial for weeks. My mother and I are watching entertainment. I was in between jobs, and let's just say one particular year I was glued to the television right after 4 years of working in retail hell and having things happen. Not to mention the Gulf War, where really screws around with a damn head. But I digress. My mom and I are watching. My brother sometimes, maybe between shifts. And we're seeing what's happening. Dave and I already knew by listening to our portable police scanner that we actually had at the time, when we actually could listen to the police and anybody else, that those machines were actually able to pick up the signals. These days are so encoded, there's no way in hell. Some things you can hear the dispatch, but you can't hear the back and forth. They're not even from the cops. But you could hear them during those days. Go to Radio Shack realistic brand. Get yourself a 40 channel, not a CB, but a multi channel handheld scanner. Those damn things are cool. And they came in handy. My brother had that one when he was over at his job at the oil refinery, sorry. Ma and I had to deal with the news during that time. Well, my brother and I had already been aware of how much tension has been because we're listening to the calls left and right, and then watching the news reports. The whole place was ready to go up. There was only a good striking match, and then the whole place would go poof with a hell of a lot of anger, frustration, and God knows what else they got going. Yeah, I remember those days. We'd watch it on the news. We'd watch it sometimes in person, especially when you'd see a little action down the street or too damn close to the home, one place or another. I'm watching this stuff happening on the news, and they finally announced that the four officers got off without a hitch. They were acquitted. They were not guilty. Despite all the evidence they tried to throw at them and all the expertise. And the only thing they had was a videotape showing four officers beating the crap out of this guy. Not to mention the audio tapes. There were audio tapes of those days concerning about 911 tapes and the go-between. So whatever kind of evidence and whatever they were showing up to the jury at the time, the jury said, not guilty. Outside of the Simi Valley Courthouse, there was a camp out there of news trucks, reporters, witnesses, protesters. And as soon as they heard, you didn't have cell phones, but you did have telephones. In those days, they actually did have telephone booths, payphones. You had the news cameras giving out the blurbs. There was a lot of people in the city and in the county of Los Angeles, and maybe in different areas of the country, who were watching there, focusing on this damn thing. Four officers seeing this play out in front of their face. That it's like, oh shit, now what do we do? But people that were affected, who listened, who watched, kept track of everything else. They're like, they're innocent. Oh God, here we go. My brother's at Lundy Thagger at this point over here saying, oh my God, it's going to get crazy tonight. He had to work uh, night shift. Turns dusk. Stayed there until about, I think, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Got the hell out of there. But he did see all hell breaking loose. He told me how many jurisdictions of law enforcement and even military of sorts patrolling the streets, asking and checking on ID left and right. My brother had to smoke outside about 2 or 3 times, just get a smoke break and do his job and come back in. And every time he had a smoke break outside, they pounced on him. Hey, what are you doing out here? I'm taking a smoke break. What are you doing out here? I'm working here. Oh yeah, what's your name? I don't know. Now, of course, my brother wasn't the kind of type who would say, I'm asserting my First Amendment rights. No, here you go, officer. I work over here. My boss is over there. Want to talk to him? You gotta stay behind the walls over here. It's not safe. We got a curfew going on. I'm just taking the smoke, and after that, I'm coming back inside. My mother and I saw this on the news about all hell breaking loose. About it within an hour or 30 minutes less. Was it Reginald Dennehy, truck driver of the cement truck? I think it was. He's trying to go through Florence and Normandy at this point. The young kids out there in their teens all the way through their 20s, almost 30s, man, they're going crazy out there. Young men are just finding ways to yell and scream at people left and right and pick things up and start throwing at things at people. Walking, or even if they're not black, they're open season. KTLA, or at least one of the news stations I remembered, was watching this area going erupting here. Because they heard on a police scanner, they went over, they're watching this thing. People trying to get through, and they're getting blocked or harangued or harassed. Cars getting pelted, and then the truck comes in, and here comes the kids swarming to get their fixation on this damn shit. Their rage, their pent up anger, their frustration at anything and everything just exploded. You hadn't seen anything like this unless you actually seen the videotapes or actually lived through that damn time. And the news station is doing a live feed on this one. They're constantly feeding it. And anybody else watching the damn television, they're going to jump in. They want to get their faces on camera. Then we started seeing reports concerning about buildings being torched. The Asian community was having issues. They had businesses built up into black communities. They thought they actually had somewhat of an understanding like, we're here for the business, we're here for you guys, we're here to make money off of you guys, but we're here offering the services. We want to be good neighbors. They used to think that way until the youth were nuts at this point. And the Asians brought out hardware. And we're watching this on the news, me and my mother. And then there was reporting on the news that it wasn't contained in South Central. Other portions of LA were going up. We're going crazy. Not to mention the San Fernando Valley, and that's what scared the hell out of me during that time. We were living in an area called Sepulveda at the time, when it was called Sepulveda at the time, between Nordhoff and Parthenia on a street called Woodley. We're right around about one house away from Rayen. Middle, middle of the valley. San Fernando, Sun Valley, Van Nuys, hot spots. We heard about hot spots when my brother and I were listening to the scanner and talking to cops. Certain areas we knew that we had to stay the hell away from, even though we visited or even drove through those areas in our life, or even lived in some of the areas. But not Sun Valley and not San Fernando. We just drove through those areas. But Van Nuys, we had friends out there. We also had out in North Hollywood, lived out there for a short time. So yeah, we were kind of connected to the valley of sorts. And hearing about those troubled areas, the streets that we kind of recognized, we're thinking, oh God, no. LAPD was on a citywide tactical alert. As soon as they actually had their verdicts read, they went to attack. But they weren't prepared. They were not prepared for this onslaught. I would need to Google the dates on this one. So while I'm recording, I'm going to Google the dates on this one. You guys keep mouthing off about some things, about how the internet stirs up people. Shit. We didn't have the internet. We had a word of mouth and we had news media. The news media was just only showing the after effects. The stuff was already brewing up already. All right. Reginald Denny, truck driver. He was Reginald Denny, truck driver. I was trying to remember that one. Reginald Denny, the truck driver. Okay, so let's say npr.org, shall we? Dated April 29th, 2022. You know, Rodney King died back in 2012. Died of a hell of a lot of trauma during those days. What I needed to find out was the 1992, exactly on that one. All right, that was NPR. I needed to know more. I needed to know a little bit more exact dates in the damn shit. Okay, Wick. I know, I prefer going over to LA Times, but Wick's also got the information there too. Wikipedia. Okay, so getting through the rest of the damn crap. Okay, so let's see. What the hell did that happen? Well, there was a lot of unrest during those days back in the 90s, I swear. 80s and 90s on this one. I mean, they did a pretty good, thorough job on this one in here. But it was March 3rd, 1991, when they caught this on film. And the, let me see, I said about that guy, right? Yeah, I did. Oh, Jesus. And I don't know how the hell he's hiding himself for all these years. Do I dare mention his name? Holiday? He was the one that did it. And everyone started filming this damn shit. Actually, it was 7 days. Let's see. It was April 29th, 1992. 7 days of jury deliberation. They got acquitted. But they had weeks according to this damn thing. It was scary to see the emergency broadcast system activated on April 30th. Watching this damn shit happen. Weeks of testimony on this damn shit. They couldn't come up with an adequate solution. They couldn't come up with the verdict of guilty or not, with the verdict on it. If they were guilty or not guilty. They just acquitted him. After a few days of deliberation on this damn shit. I saw it on television. And my brother came home scared as hell. We were listening to the scanner during that day. Actually, the night when he came home. He was flashing white. I said, lock up everything. They locked up everything. Ma never liked guns in the house, but she knew Dave had his guns. He told Ma that was part of his military gear, and if he was subject to recall, he had to bring his gear with him. He didn't have them out in the open. He had them ready, though, just in case. That's what happens when you're in the military. You're in a unit that requires instant action, unfortunately. But pulling it on people left and right, are we ready for that damn shit? We're watching the first night, LA burning up in different sections, not to mention hearing the reports in the scanner, the portions of the San Fernando Valley. And what was in the valley was too damn close for comfort. We're seeing this stuff going up in smoke. It was in businesses I saw that got destroyed. People's lives. And people lost their damn minds. The North Korean, or not the North Koreans, the Asian community, I should say. I don't know if there were the Chinese or Vietnamese or Korean, didn't matter. It was still the Asian community they were called during those days. And they had the guns. And they were going to defend themselves. You saw other places get burned up. They weren't going to get their livelihood destroyed. And the anger towards anything and everybody. I think the day after, and or probably the day after that, Rodney King was recovered enough just to be a little bit mobile and speaking. He had a lot of trauma, emotional trauma, yeah, but he still had trauma nevertheless. And he was talking about it. He was trying to tell the people, can we all get along? Can we all get along? He wasn't much for multiple speeches. I mean, the mayor was out there trying to calm things down a bit. Police chief at the time was out in Las Vegas attending a convention of sorts. It took him hours to get back to LA. They were not prepared for a riot. There were no rules and procedures ready for this damn shit. Didn't have the manpower, didn't have the equipment ready for it. Hell, the National Guard came out unarmed and pretended that they actually had ammunition in their guns ready to go. But all they had to do was just point, and that was it. If they clicked, they were dead. I never wanted to see another riot like that again. In the town that I grew up in, the county that I grew up in loved. It was hard enough for me to learn about the 1960 riots, and I never even learned what the cause was, but I know there was a lot of unrest between the blacks and the whites. And they took it out on the cops, and the cops really took it out on everybody. And to see that malevolence. So you guys in progressive media out there, don't do your thorough backgrounds enough. You guys dependent upon the current technology right now of social media and what the internet has and holds on to. If they still had the videos from back then, those were the things you would have been seeing and should have been reviewing because those would have given you something to talk about, wouldn't it? If I'm not mistaken, probably am, there were other cities getting involved into the situation too. I'm not quite sure which ones, and I didn't hear any about those because the local stations were only keeping track of the local shit. And the national was keeping track of LA, so if there was anything else going on in the other cities, it wasn't capturing the attention enough on that. People talk about revolutions and stuff like that. Fuck. Pardon my language. They don't know what they don't know what they're talking about. Probably going to be asking me, do I blame? One guy who has a drunk issue racing around, unaware, unaware of the things happening, chased by police officers who had adrenaline going and training by an officer who is sadistic as hell sometimes. And it kept getting into fights with the mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley, God rest his soul. And the training that these officers received were brutalistic a bit. But they'd be on the level that I've seen on the videos out there currently. It was volatile things thrown into the mix. There was not just one, but usually there is a spark that sets it off. We had catalysts ready to go off. We had fuel ready to blow things up. We had chaos and confusion ready to go insane. And in different portions and different time periods within a 20 or 30 year era, yeah, they were going, but we didn't hear them as much. And if we did, it would be on a police scanner. Not until you actually see the damn thing go up and smoke and flame, and you see the anger, you see the frustration, you see the rage, you see the pain and suffering. Compare it to what's been going on over Middle East. I'm surprised the Palestinians didn't go up sooner. I'm surprised Hamas didn't have Israel for breakfast again. What was it, about 20 or 30 years ago they actually had a war? Had a war with Israel. Damn near destroyed the Gaza Strip. And now we're seeing that happen. Overwhelming force. And people in there are terrified. In the West Bank, well, they're just protesting and ready to go things up. Just tear it up over there. And in Hezbollah and the northern Israeli area. But out here in the country, are we going crazy? Are we going insane yet? Nowhere near. January 6th was something of a political maneuver here that old Gasbag was working on. Got people stirred up through the internet and then got them over to the Capitol building to do damage and chant and God knows what else they wanted to do. But thank God it didn't do what they were going to do or try to threaten. I don't know. Sometimes I'm at a loss for understanding what's been happening these days. A lot of my videos have been talking about my own observations, what I've seen, and what I've learned, what I've experienced in a lot of situations. Not to mention losing people left and right and emotional states before and then afterwards. If there is going to be a manifest that I would put out, there's nothing profound for me to say except look at my videos. Trying to record my own damn insanity, I'm seeing everybody else flipping, losing theirs, so it makes me the most sanest bastard around anyway. I say the bastard word because I'm a product of a biological sperm donor who did a hit and run on my mother a long time ago and just bothered to disappear entirely. Yeah, you talk about lifelong anger issues on that one. But going after people and hating people for stupidity? Yeah, the zeros and ones algorithms have a way of trying to entice and piss us off left and right, but you had to have been pissed off enough inside anyway to really let that shit get down your throat, affect your brain. I look at the stuff out there and I'm seeing more and more patterns happening and things that I've seen and experienced and trying to make comparisons one way or another. Seeing a Japanese Zen garden and understanding cause and effect and in between. Just by looking at sand sculptures of sorts. Just looking at the sand sculptures. Sit there on a park bench and you look at this and you contemplate and you contemplate and you keep thinking and you keep thinking and you keep thinking and you're wondering about a lot of things if it's making sense or if it's not making sense. When I start doing these damn things, I really get into that kind of Zen state, and then it's like something. There's a lot of things out of my control. There are decisions made that are in my control, and a decision to record this, to talk about things like that, is in my control, in my purview. This is what I must do. I must talk about what I noticed and observed and experienced because this is an emotional lifeboat for me, a memory lifeboat. Anything happens to me at this point over here, at least up to this time period of the time of the video, I'm recording thoughts and feelings. I'm feeling somewhat discombobulated, so much peaceful at this point because I talk about a Zen garden. When I was talking about the LA riots that I remember, I feel the same damn felt fear back then as I do now. That was traumatic enough, but then I'm seeing and witnessing today's level. Kind of reminded me of 9/11 and that emotional outburst and feelings right there. Fear, terror, out of control. What the hell are you supposed to do? That's how I'm feeling. I still have to focus on the damn schoolwork and my brain is not there for it. It's due tomorrow. I got homework. It's complicated as hell. Math for liberal arts. Let's see how you try to do in this damn shit. It scares me that I'm seeing people laughing their heads off because they think this shit's funny. Or try to think it's funny. Or try to take advantage of people because they're going to take advantage of them because They're that kind of people. I guess I talk too much on this damn thing.